Jeanne Gregory's world shifted fast. Her breast cancer diagnosis came from a routine mammogram after a lifetime believing her family history of no breast cancer kept her safe. Navigating treatment just months after losing her husband to another kind of cancer, Jeanne found new hope because of the support from friends, her daughters, and a caring medical team. Her story highlights the power of being your own advocate, staying open with doctors, and leaning on the community through every step of your recovery. When you subscribe to our show, you help us grow. Someone you know may need to hear this story, so please share with your family and friends and consider supporting our mission at therose.org. Let's talk about your breast. A different kind of podcast presented to you by The Rose, a breast center of excellence and a Texas treasure. You're going to hear frank discussions about tough topics, and you're going to learn why knowing about your breast could save your life. Jeanne, thank you so much for joining us today. This is such a pleasure to meet you, and I know that you have a lot to share with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Jeanne, when you were diagnosed with breast cancer, it was like total surprise for you.
Yeah, I joke, and I probably shouldn't joke about this, but I joke that most of my people just drop dead of heart attacks. I mean, that's what happened. All the grandparents, the parents, everybody. One day here, next day gone. Thought, I don't have to worry about breast cancer. I don't have to worry about that. So anyway, but I always did my mammograms. And
now, is that how it was found on your mammogram?
Yes, routine, and it was January of 2024, and just went in for a routine, and it was December when I went in, and then they called me back in January, and I thought, well, that can't be right. I have heart attacks. I don't have, I don't have
no
breast
family
cancer.
history of any kind.
No family history that I know of. Of course, I don't have any sisters, so I don't, but no family history. No cousins, nobody. And they found a small DCIS invasive, and it knocked me down because 4 months prior, I had lost my husband to liver cancer.
Oh.
After he had a 3-year battle with liver cancer. So I was just as scared of the treatment as I was the cancer because I had practically lived at MD Anderson for 3 years.
Right.
And I was scared, and I couldn't go back to MD Anderson. It just wasn't in me. I told my doctor I want to be treated someplace else because I couldn't walk through those doors.
Well, good for you.
So,
no matter what, Liz,
anyway,
going through that,
it was too much PTSD.
Yes.
And so he set me up with a great surgeon, and I've got a great oncologist. My surgeon called it early curable problem, which, you kind of think you might be dismissed, but, she said, no, it's early and it's curable. So out of the blue.
So what kind of treatment did you have?
I had surgery. They took out, they took it out. They did the margins. They took out 2 lymph nodes. Those were cancer-free, thank God.
Good.
And then I did 21 rounds of radiation. So came through it just fine.
No major side effects?
No major side effects. Well, I had a little bit of pain from the radiation in my shoulder, but it went away. No, and then I went to the oncologist, and I actually really love my oncologist. He's great. And they put me on Tamoxifen, which I was scared because everybody was like, oh, you're going to get fat, and, you can't help but get fat on Tamoxifen. And I was like, well, I'm already kind of here. But anyway... Anyway, I have had no side effects.
Now, that is good to hear. Yeah. Some women do fine. Some women have lots of side effects. Everyone's body is different. And I think that's one of the things about breast cancer that makes it a little different kind of cancer, because there's so many different kinds of breast cancer.
Yes.
And then the point that you find it can alter so many different things. So,
I mean, it could have grown. I have a friend who was diagnosed the same week I was. She found the lump in October, but they did not do the surgery. They didn't do the final investigation until January. And by that time, she ended up having to do Herceptin and chemo and the whole thing. But she had also skipped her mammogram for the last 3 years because of COVID. So
we heard that story so many times.
Yeah.
Well, you just couldn't do it during COVID. It was such a difficult time for so many. And, women have a tendency not to remember when that last mammogram was anyway, or we think it had to have been done just last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solace was very good. I mean, they send me texts. And
they really got on to you about getting it done.
They're like, it's time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's time. Okay.
So did she do well?
She did really well. She's come out on the other side. But, she went through more treatment than I did. So,
yes. So it does make a difference when it's found.
It makes a huge difference. I'm just so grateful.
So, Jeanne, with your husband gone, who was your support system during that time?
My friends, my kids. I've got 2 daughters. A lot of friends pitched in. I'm real independent. I like to do things on my own. So I drove myself to radiation for 21 days from Richmond to the medical center.
Goodness.
I didn't feel bad. It gave me something to do, to feel like, okay, I'm fighting this thing. Every day it was like, I'm fighting this thing.
So now let's go back to Jeanne, the career woman. You've always worked and been in real estate, right?
Yes.
Had your own company? Or
no, I'm an agent. I was an agent with RE/MAX for 27 years. And before that, I was with a couple of other smaller companies. And then, Catalyst, during this fight, during this breast cancer, I just decided I need a smaller company. I need somebody who's more there for me. It's a long story. But anyway, I went with a small boutique agency in Sugar Land, and it's the best thing I've ever done. So,
isn't it interesting how sometimes these life-threatening events force us to do what we knew we needed to do anyway? We
knew we needed to do it. That was the thing. I knew I needed to do it. Even while my husband was sick, I needed to do it. But you're just like, oh, well, and then, it was just like, oh, I need to do this. So,
well, that is one of the, I've heard patients say this, gifts of cancer, even though nothing would please us more than if we had a cure and we could just say, oh, this is going to be done and all of those kind of things. But I've heard many patients say there is a gift to this because it helps you to prioritize in a very different way.
I had a friend, we do reunions every year with a certain number of friends, and one of them was like, well, maybe we'll just put it off this year. And I'm like, we don't have that many years left. No, we're not putting it off. We're going to do this reunion. So,
life gets very different.
It does.
But I think another message that you have for women is, no matter how old you are, and you were a little older here when you were diagnosed, but you were still going to have your mammogram. You were still getting it done.
Yes.
And that's kind of another one of those misconceptions out there of, oh, I don't really need it anymore.
I don't need to.
Yeah.
So I have told all my friends. I announce it at my Pilates classes. Somebody will say something. I'm like, don't. You go get it right now.
Right.
Go get that mammogram. So,
well, it's one way we can take care of ourselves, but it's also, no one wants to find anything, but finding it early can make such a big difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what other things did you learn during that time?
Well, and maybe not during that time. It started when my husband was sick. I learned that you have to be your best advocate.
Oh, such an important.
You have to
yes.
be an advocate for the person who's ill. Because I'm not bad-mouthing the medical facilities at all, but you have to be your advocate. You have to be the one that stands up and goes, wait a minute, I don't understand this. I don't understand why we're doing this. I don't understand, why I feel this way. I don't understand, explain it to me. And, some of them will and some of them won't. I've had great people in my journey. My husband had a few people that, let's just say they didn't want to explain themselves because they were the doctor and you were the patient, and
But now, Jeanne, that is really part of our history. I mean, that's how many of us were. I don't want to say raised, but
it's
it was
what we put up with.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's a great term.
That's what we put up with. Yeah.
Wow. We got to remember that.
You would go to the doctor and he'd say, "Here, take this pill,"
and you'd take it, and you wouldn't ask,
and then you'd feel bad, and you'd say, "This pill makes me feel bad," and then they'd say, "Well, that's your imagination. It can't make you feel bad." So,
that absolutely, that's a great example. So, did you learn this advocacy early on, or was it with your husband's?
It was mostly with my husband. It was a long, long journey. He was actually on the transplant list for a while. We actually got a call to go for a liver transplant, and we got halfway to the medical center, and they said, "Never mind. We made a mistake." So, I mean, I can get emotional right now just thinking, just going back to all that makes me anxious.
Now, we don't want you to be anxious, but I think it's so important for people to understand what it takes to stand up.
You have to stand up.
And to be an advocate.
Especially women, because we're, I mean, we shouldn't be saying this now, but we are dismissed a lot of times.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Think about this. Here you're a career woman. You've made your own money. You've been with clients. You've shaped your own life. But when you go to the doctor, if you feel dismissed, you know what? You probably are being dismissed.
Right. I had one of his doctors tell me I was a white-knuckle control freak. And I said, yes. Is there anything else you would like to tell me?
This is my husband. This is the man I love. Yeah.
I've been with him for 48 years. Is there anything else you would like to point out? So,
that's pretty brave.
I didn't say that in those terms. I was a little nicer. But I also requested that doctor never saw us again.
Oh, you fired a doctor.
Yeah. Well, my husband fired the doctor. So, yeah.
But even that concept is hard for people to understand. You don't have to continue with a doctor if you just don't feel comfortable.
If they make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that going into his battle. I mean, you just don't think about it. You think these guys are all here same way, same team. But there's, sometimes there's one, I guess. But you have to be your own advocate for sure.
So having that experience with your husband, you brought that into your own time.
Probably brought it into my own time, much to the dismay of some of my doctors. But yeah, I asked a lot of questions. I still ask a lot of questions.
Well, good.
And yeah, everybody needs to ask questions.
But sometimes I hear we don't even know what questions to ask.
That's
How
true.
did you know?
I did a lot of Dr. Google, which you're not supposed to do. I have a really good primary care physician, so I was able to reach out to him and ask questions. I had an excellent surgeon, so I was able to ask questions. The radiologist I went to was very informative. So I had a good team, I felt like. And then, there are Facebook groups. I mean, I'm on a Facebook group for Tamoxifen, just to see, hey, what's everybody, my hair's falling out, or my, is this caused by tamoxifen? And a lot of people say, well, I never had that. So it was kind of calming to know that other people were going through it. Like, is this really a side effect, or is there something else? So is this something I should ask my doctor, or
does this pain mean anything?
Right, because now every time you have a pain, you're like, oh, the cancer,
Yeah. So, and that is so true. Yeah. It's just the way our minds work.
Right.
But you brought up something, with COVID happening in our recent memory, so many people lost that contact with other beings, with other people. Right. And it's been a real shift to find those communities of support. But they're out there.
They're out there, yeah.
You just have to be, I think you always have to have discretion, but you also have to realize you just need to look for them, and how you interact and what you give the group is pretty much going to reflect what you get out of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think there are a lot of people like on that group that are like, I'm supposed to start taking this pill, and it's been 45 days, and I'm not taking this pill yet because I'm scared. Well, you were scared when you had cancer, so,
right. This
is going to help you, and maybe some other people telling you, I don't have many side effects, Yeah, there are some. There's always going to be some with a new medication, but take it. Take it. It keeps cancer at bay.
Right. That's interesting that someone would postpone that. From the medical side, what's concerning is there's some medications, if you don't start them within a certain period of time, they don't have the same impact on the body. So, that would be concerning.
I was amazed that because when they said, this is what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to take this pill for the next 5 years, I'm like, give it to me. Come on.
Right.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So what are some other things that, and I think advocacy is so important. Being your own self-advocate is just, we can't stress that enough. And I hear it so many times from our guests who either didn't know how and wish they had learned it earlier, or had someone to help coach them. I think that's one thing that our breast cancer community is very open with. Here's what you need to ask. Here's how. And when you get into a group of any kind, then you'll learn some of those questions to ask and how to ask them.
And how to ask. Yeah, I think so. I think maybe because women are more able to reach out to other women than sometimes
we're more
men
connectors, yes.
Yeah. Because I know when my husband was sick, his friends didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to do. So, and I feel like my friends kind of gathered around me and said, we don't know what to do either, but here we are. So,
well, see, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes just being there.
Just being there.
Right.
And
was there anything one or two of your friends did that was real special during that time?
Oh, my friend in Alabama sent me cookies.
Oh,
they were delicious.
And they can cure most anything.
They could cure most anything.
Yes,
These were delicious cookies.
Oh.
So, my kids were great. I mean, they just rallied around me. And
tell me again, girls, boys?
Girls. Both girls, yeah. I have one that lives in Austin and one that lives very close to me. So they were great.
And were they concerned because her mom had breast cancer and they're concerned for their own?
For their own, and do we carry the gene? And I don't, thank God. But that was their worry, to do the genetic testing. So.
And did you do that right away, or was that encouraged?
It was encouraged.
Yeah.
It was definitely encouraged just to see. Because like I said, nobody in my family had it.
Right.
Where did this come from? What happened? And as my oncologist said, I said, what caused this? And he said, living in 2024. I was like, great. Thank you. So, but
there's a lot to that because, I read all the time about the possible causes and none of them agree.
Right.
And, what we thought 5 years ago was a definite cause is
maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
So a colleague said, getting breast cancer is like walking across a field and hitting a landmine. You never know when it's going to happen. There's no
That's a great
rhyme or
description.
reason. And I thought it really is. And I've heard so many women feel like they did something to bring this on. And, I can't stress enough.
No, I kind of did that too. Well, maybe, I don't know. I'm drinking too many Diet Cokes. Y'all been on my case about Diet Coke for a long time. Maybe that's caused it. And just crazy stuff.
But you got over that.
Oh, I'm still addicted to Diet Coke. But, yeah.
Well, but I mean, you
got over the guilt.
Yeah, the guilt.
I got over the guilt. Yeah. So
well, and seeing your husband, that had to be kind of a double whammy.
It was a mess. Mm-hmm. It was a mess from 2019 to middle of 2024 was a mess. So he died 3 years to the day after his diagnosis. So October 2019 to October 2022. So yeah, it was a mess. And just to watch him just waste away,
Right.
And so then when I was diagnosed, I was more scared of the treatment than I was, like, hey, he went through all of this.
Right.
But his wasn't found. It wasn't found until it was pretty much incurable when it was found.
Right.
So,
And that's the case in many cancers.
yeah.
That's the one good thing about breast cancer, if we can call it good. But
Yeah, you can take them away. You can do without them,
Yeah.
but you can't do without a liver.
right.
So,
from being a caregiver to needing a caregiver, was that a difficult transition for
I
you?
am so independent to a fault.
Oh, you didn't let many people caregive you.
No.
Jane.
No, I didn't. Not much. I'm like, I got this. It's all good. So, I mean, that's the way I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
I was an only child. I took care of myself. My parents worked. You just go do it.
Yeah.
And, then I married a guy who worked all over the world and was here
And you still had to
and
do
here,
it.
and I still did it. So,
Right.
I was like, oh, I mean, when they wheeled me into surgery, I asked my surgeon, I said, okay, I have an important question. She said, what? And I said, I have tickets to see the Eagles on the 16th.
Wait, what date was this?
Oh, this was February 2nd, and I had tickets on the 16th. I was like, can I still go? And she was like, yes, you can still go. So.
That was the most important thing on your mind.
It was one. Well, it was my last question to her. It was like, wait, I got Eagles tickets. So my friend took me to the Eagles concert. So.
How neat is that?
So, yeah.
Oh, my
we
gosh.
made it just fine.
Yes.
So.
Well, and isn't that the other part of anything in life? There's always, you got to have something to look forward to.
You've got to keep looking forward.
Yes.
You've got to keep looking forward. Yeah, this sucks, but what's next? What can we do next? So, yeah.
Someone once said, and it's probably a famous author, who said the most powerful word in the English language is next. And I always thought, oh, next.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you never stay in that, you just have to keep going next.
You can't. You can't. I have never been a pessimistic person. I always feel like there's something good's going to happen. Something good's going to happen, And when this happened, I thought, well, what can I do to encourage other people, Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it sucks getting breast cancer. It really does. But, there's something on the other side. How can I help somebody else, to get through this? Or,
Well, you're pretty newly out of it when you think of it.
Yeah. I've been on the Tamoxifen almost a year and a half.
So, but you've become that person to go to for others who are battling the same thing. Have you found yourself?
Kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I lost two the year before, and then a year ago yesterday, I lost two really good friends. One of them had lung cancer, and it had metastasized to her bones.
Mm.
If your lung doctor finds something, please go in and get it, because she didn't. She did not explore it until it was way too late. And then a year ago, yesterday, I lost a really good friend who had stomach cancer, and he was 50.
Goodness.
So yeah, I've tried to reach out to other friends and to Chris's family, because he left two kids. They're 18, but they're still kids. And, trying to reach out to his family.
Right.
And because, I mean, how do you do that? I mean, you just, in fact, I believe he was diagnosed the same day that I was. And I thought, well, I just have a little breast cancer. He's got stage 4 stomach cancer. Mm. So you kind of find yourself going, I'm okay. I'm good. I got this, So.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to an emergency room for stomach pain, and they were like, we're sorry. We can't do anything for you. So.
Cancer is
it's insidious.
Yes. So, that is the best word for it.
Yeah.
There's just no way around that.
So, in answer to your question, I didn't feel like I needed it. I'm still healthy. I'm good. I made it to the Eagles concert. I'm good. So let me go help somebody else.
Right. Well, and I think having, like you said, something to look forward to, something meaningful to do, and you've done that all your life. So, it just continues.
You just have to stay positive. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there was anxiety. There was all kinds of emotions, and they were all over the place, and there was depression, and but you kind of think, okay, what's happening here? What's happening? Because I can still go down that rabbit hole a little bit about, well, if I hadn't gotten sick, hadn't gotten breast cancer, or if he hadn't gotten cancer. I mean, my husband always said we could if this thing to death.
Yes.
And I thought that was probably the best way to put it. If we'd have done this, or if we'd have found it sooner, so you can if something to death. Mm-hmm. So.
But like you said, and you gave yourself permission to go down that hole for just a little bit before you said, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Jeanne.
Yeah, right.
That other part of you comes out and goes, let's climb out and go do something else.
And I will tell you that therapy was part of it. Anti-anxiety drugs were part of it. And you also learn to recognize it. So, it's not like just, magical, everything's going to be okay.
Right.
You've kind of got to manage it. And when you're in that deep hole, reach out to somebody.
Very, very true. Great advice. I want to say words of wisdom here. But they are. Yeah. I think all the things you've covered are many of the things that we don't want to talk about. And, we're so used to being super women or whatever that it's not easy to say, oh my gosh, this was a tough thing to do.
Right. I always told my kids that I'm a positive person. Like, if I read somewhere one time that this guy said, I'm a positive person. If there's a room full of horse poop, there's got to be a pony in there somewhere. And so I've told my kids sometimes they'll reach out to me, and I was like, no, it's a no pony day. Oh. I can't find the pony. I can't find the pony today. So, the room's full of horse poop, and there's no pony today. We'll look for the pony tomorrow.
Yeah.
But,
That's a great
just
story.
kind of code for,
right.
I'm feeling all the things today. So,
Good for you that you had a way to express it without
saying I'm just, depressed. Yeah. There's just no pony. So.
Well, on that, I think we're going to let Jeanne go. But Jeanne, this has been really interesting.
Thank you very much for letting me do this.
Yeah, and thank you for. I know some of the things you've said will be important for our listeners to say, or to hear, because we never know who it is that's out there hearing this and needing to know that it's okay to have a no pony day.
It is okay to not be able to find the pony.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk About Your Breasts. This podcast is produced by Speak Podcasting and brought to you by The Rose. Visit therose.org to learn more about our organization. Subscribe to our podcast, share episodes with friends, and join the conversation on social media using hashtag Let's Talk About Your Breasts. We welcome your feedback and suggestions. Consider supporting The Rose. Your gift can make the difference to a person in need. And remember, self-care is not selfish. It's essential.